Destiny Payton has just dropped a bombshell warning about Tisha and Martell, and it's something no one saw coming. For years, we've watched the drama unfold between these reality stars, but this latest revelation takes things to a whole new level. What did Destiny uncover that made her finally speak out? What shocking truths could change everything for Tisha and Martell? Stay tuned, because this is the warning they never wanted you to hear. If you've been keeping up with love and marriage, Huntsville, you know the drama is endless when it comes to Destiny, Tisha, and Martell. But this time it's different. This isn't just another heated argument or social media clapback. Destiny has come forward with a serious warning, one that could change the way we see these reality stars forever. For a long time, Destiny has been caught in the middle of battles between former friends and business associates. She's played the roles of friend, ally, and even enemy, depending on who you ask. But now, she's stepping up and risking it all to expose the truth. What led Destiny to finally break her silence? Could this warning be related to the real reason behind her fallout with Tisha? Or is there something even deeper at play? Something that could shake everything up? Martell's world is about to change in ways he never expected. Buckle up, because we're diving deep into Destiny's long-awaited warning, the real tea behind the drama, and what this means for the future of these relationships. But before we get into all the juicy details, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an update on this ongoing saga. Alright, let's get into it. To fully understand why Destiny Payton is issuing this urgent warning, we need to take a step back and examine the complicated history she shares with Tisha and Martell. If you've been following love and marriage, Huntsville, you already know that friendships and alliances shift like the wind, and Destiny has found herself caught in the middle of some of the most explosive feuds the show has ever seen. Destiny and Martell have known each other for years. Their connection goes way back, before the cameras, before the fame, and definitely before the drama became public. In the early seasons, Destiny always seemed to be on Martell's side, defending him when his messy divorce from Melody Holt made headlines. Some even accused her of being too close to Martell, fueling rumors of something more between them. But here's where things get interesting. Over time, Destiny started pulling away. The once solid friendship began to crack as she saw a different side of Martell, one that the public had already been calling out for years. Was Martell manipulating her, using her as a pawn in his never-ending battle against Melody? Sources close to Destiny claim she started noticing patterns. Martell would play the victim in public, but act very differently behind closed doors. He was known to twist the truth and manipulate situations for his own benefit. Martell would gaslight and even throw his closest allies under the bus when things didn't go his way. Could this be part of the warning Destiny is now issuing? Then there's the situation with Tisha Scott. Destiny and Tisha were once close, almost like sisters. They bonded over their struggles, their businesses, and their experiences as women navigating the complex world of marriage, friendships, and betrayal. But somewhere along the way, things turned sour. At first, the tension between them seemed minor, just petty misunderstandings and disagreements. But then, Destiny started pulling away, making it clear she no longer trusted Tisha the way she once did. Fans noticed their once solid friendship crumbling before their eyes. Many believe that Tisha's loyalty to Martell played a huge role in the fallout. Tisha and her husband, Marcel, have a long and complicated relationship with Martell, and there have been whispers and rumors for years about their ties. Martell's off-screen business dealings, some of which might not be entirely above board, made Destiny uncomfortable. She saw things behind the scenes that didn't sit right with her, and instead of staying silent, she chose to distance herself. But here's where it gets really messy. Destiny didn't just distance herself. She started collecting receipts. She saw things, overheard conversations, and connecteds that most people didn't even realize existed. Now, she's finally ready to expose the truth. Could her warning be about a financial scandal, a business deal gone wrong, or something even more shocking, like personal betrayals and secret alliances? One thing is for sure, Destiny has had enough, and she's not holding back anymore. But here's the real question. What exactly does she know, and why is she choosing to speak up now? The answer might just leave you shocked. Stick around because, in the next section, We're diving into the exact moment Destiny realized she couldn't stay silent any longer. Trust me, you won't believe what she uncovered. For months, Destiny Payton kept quiet. She watched everything unfold around her, the shifting alliances, the hidden agendas, and the betrayals. She overheard conversations meant for no one else and saw things that made her uneasy. But she remained silent, choosing to distance herself rather than engage in more drama. That silence didn't last forever. Something happened behind the scenes that forced her to speak up. Destiny's decision to break her silence wasn't just about clearing the air. It was about warning Tisha and Martell before it was too late. One of the biggest tensions within the love and marriage Huntsville circle has always been business. Almost everyone on the show is involved in real estate, construction, or entrepreneurship, and with that much money and power at stake, trust becomes fragile. Destiny, like many others, was focused on growing her own ventures. However, she started noticing something troubling. Certain business deals didn't add up. Sources say Destiny became aware of shady financial dealings happening among people in her circle. Whispers about contracts being signed without full transparency, money exchanging hands under suspicious circumstances, and business deals that seemed promising on the surface but had dangerous implications underneath. At first, Destiny ignored the rumors, assuming they were just another round of love and marriage, Huntsville gossip. But then she saw actual evidence, bankruptcy records, messages, and first-hand accounts from people who had been involved. Some of these questionable deals involved Martell, while others led straight back to Tisha and her husband, Marcel. The deeper Destiny looked, the more she realized that her silence could cost people more than just money. It could cost them their reputations, friendships, and even their futures. One of the biggest reasons Destiny had always been wary of Martell was his ability to manipulate people. She had seen it happen before. He had done it with Melody, convincing the world for years that he was the true victim in their divorce. He had done it with business partners, making them believe he was trustworthy, only for them to regret it later. And now, he was doing it again, working his way into situations that Destiny knew would only end in disaster. Destiny had first-hand experience with Martell's ability to bend the truth to serve his own interests. He had a way of making people doubt what they knew, questioning their own judgment, and believing they were in the wrong, even when they had the facts on their side. She had been on the receiving end of those tactics before, but now she was watching him use the same manipulation on Tisha and Marcel. What made it worse was that Tisha, despite her intelligence and business acumen, seemed blind to what was happening. She was giving Martell the benefit of the doubt, believing that his intentions were genuine. But Destiny saw the pattern. She had seen this game played before, and she knew how it ended. The moment Destiny knew she had to act was when she realized that Tisha and Martell were walking straight into a trap, one that could ruin everything they had built. What was Martell really after? His past behavior suggested that he always had an ulterior motive. Whether it was keeping Melody emotionally tied to him long after their divorce, trying to rebuild his image through new business ventures, or aligning himself with powerful people in Huntsville, his moves were never random. Destiny began to suspect that Martell's latest scheme had a much bigger, more dangerous endgame. Martell's involvement with Tisha and Marcel wasn't just about business. There was something bigger at play. Could he be using them as a stepping stone to regain control over his personal and professional reputation? Was he leveraging their businesses for financial gain, knowing they were more established than he was? Or worse, was he setting them up for a fall, positioning himself to come out on top while they took the hit? Destiny didn't have all the answers yet, but what she did know was this: Martell was not someone to be trusted. If Tisha and Marcel didn't wake up soon, they would find themselves in a situation they couldn't escape from. There was a moment behind the scenes when Destiny realized she couldn't stay quiet any longer. Maybe it was a conversation she overheard, maybe it was a document she saw, or maybe it was just a gut feeling that told her if she didn't speak up now, she would regret it forever. Whatever it was, it pushed her to the edge. Destiny reached out to someone she trusted, someone who could confirm her suspicions. When she got that confirmation, it became clear Tisha and Martell needed to be warned before it was too late. But would they listen? Or had Martell already manipulated the situation beyond repair? That was the question Destiny had to face. For weeks, maybe even months, Destiny Payton had been watching everything unfold. She had held her tongue when she wanted to speak, stayed out of conflicts that weren't hers to fight. But deep down, she knew something wasn't right. And when she finally uncovered enough proof to confirm her suspicions, she realized that staying silent was no longer an option. She had seen how the story played out before. She had seen people ignore the warning signs, thinking they were too small to matter. Now, she knew she had to act before it was too late. Destiny had seen friendships, businesses, and reputations crumble because people didn't listen when they were told the truth. Now, she was in a position where she had to make a choice. Speak out and risk everything, or stay silent and watch people she cared about walk straight into disaster. For Destiny, the decision was clear. Destiny knew that getting through to Tisha wouldn't be easy. Tisha had always been strong-willed, loyal to the people she trusted, and unwilling to believe anything that contradicted what she wanted to be true. And that was part of the problem. Tisha had a blind spot when it came to certain people. She believed in her husband, Martell, even when rumors of his alleged indiscretions surfaced time and time again. She wanted to believe their business dealings were solid, their partnerships were built on trust, and most of all, she wanted to believe that Martell wasn't a threat. But Destiny knew better. She called Tisha and set up a private meeting. No cameras, no interruptions, no outsiders. Just the two of them. What Destiny had to say couldn't be ignored, and she needed to look Tisha in the eyes when she said it. The moment they sat down, Tisha already seemed suspicious. She could tell something was off, that Destiny wasn't there for small talk. Destiny wasted no time. "Tisha, listen to me. You need to be careful." Tisha laughed at first, waving Destiny off and telling her she was overthinking things. But Destiny didn't let up. "I'm telling you. If you don't start paying attention, you're going to find out the hard way." Destiny's voice was firm as she looked Tisha in the eyes. At first, Tisha pushed back. She had heard things about Martell before, but she wasn't going to let outside noise dictate her decisions. However, as Destiny began to lay out specific details, things she had seen with her own eyes, conversations she had overheard, financial moves that didn't make sense, Tisha's confidence began to waver. "I'm not saying this to stir up drama," Destiny insisted. "I'm saying this because I care. I don't want to see you caught up in something you can't control." Tisha was quiet, her arms crossed. She wasn't fully convinced yet, but for the first time, Destiny could tell she was listening. Destiny knew that if Martell found out about this conversation, there would be consequences. Martell was the kind of person who didn't like to be exposed. He was calculated, used to controlling narratives and twisting stories in his favor. If he sensed that someone was working against him, he would do everything in his power to shut them down. And that's exactly what happened. Somehow, whether through a mutual friend, an overheard conversation, or even Tisha herself, Martell found out that Destiny had warned her. He wasted no time confronting Destiny. "So, that's what we're doing now." His voice was calm, but Destiny could hear the tension beneath it. "You're running around spreading lies about me?" Destiny didn't back down. "I'm telling the truth. If you don't like it, that's your problem." Martell chuckled, shaking his head. "You think you know everything, don't you?" He leaned in closer, his voice dropping lower. "You don't know half of what's really going on." For a split second, Destiny wondered if he was right. Martell was a master manipulator. He had a way of making people question what they knew, shifting the focus away from himself, and making others second-guess their own judgment. But this time, it wasn't going to work. Destiny had seen enough. She had proof. She had receipts. She wasn't just guessing. She knew exactly what was happening. And whether Martell liked it or not, she was going to make sure the truth came out. The biggest challenge with exposing the truth isn't always finding the proof. It's getting people to believe it. Tisha was conflicted, and Destiny could tell that deep down. Tisha knew she wasn't lying. The details Destiny provided were too specific, too accurate to be made up. But admitting that Destiny was right meant admitting that she had been wrong about Martell, and that was something Tisha wasn't ready to do. So, she did what many people do when faced with an uncomfortable truth. She ignored it. Tisha told Destiny that she appreciated the warning but assured her she had things under control. She confidently stated that she knew what she was doing and wasn't worried. But Destiny wasn't convinced. She had done her part, said what needed to be said, but at the end of the day, it wasn't up to her to make the decision. It was up to Tisha. The real question was, would Tisha listen before it was too late? Before Destiny walked away from that conversation, she left Tisha with one final thought. Just remember what I told you. When things start falling apart, when you start seeing the signs, you'll know I was telling the truth. Tisha didn't respond. She just nodded, her face unreadable. Destiny walked away, knowing she had done what she could. She had spoken her truth, and now all she could do was wait. But something in her gut told her this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Tisha tried to go back to her normal life. She told herself that Destiny was exaggerating, that maybe she had misunderstood things. She convinced herself that Martell would never intentionally put her in a bad situation. But the problem with the truth is that once it's planted in your mind, it doesn't go away. It lingers, it festers, and no matter how much Tisha tried to push Destiny's words aside, they stayed with her. AT first. She ignored the little things. The phone calls that Martell took in private, the late-night meetings, the hushed conversations that stopped abruptly when she walked into the room. She told herself it was just business. But now, after Destiny's warning, she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Tisha started paying closer attention. She began noticing the inconsistencies in what Martell was saying, the small details that didn't quite add up. The more she watched, the more she began to see patterns she hadn't noticed before. Conversations that didn't match up. Financial moves that raised red flags. Something was off, and it wasn't just her imagination. When she finally sat down and looked at everything with fresh eyes, it became undeniable. Destiny hadn't been lying. The truth was right there, staring her in the face. The only question now was, what was Tisha going to do about it? The warning had been given, but how she handled it from here was entirely in her hands. And Destiny's words echoed in her mind. When things start falling apart, when you start seeing the signs, you'll know I was telling the truth. Martell was no fool. He knew how to control a narrative. The moment he realized that Destiny had gotten to Tisha, he knew he had to act fast. And so he did what he always did. He flipped the script. He started planting doubts in Tisha's mind. Destiny has always been jealous of what we have, he told her. She's trying to put ideas in your head because she doesn't want to see us win. He reminded Tisha of all the times Destiny had been caught up in drama. She wants you to believe something bad about me because she knows it'll cause problems. That's what she does. For a moment it worked. Tisha wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe that Martell was innocent and that Destiny was simply being messy. But then something happened that changed everything. One evening, as Tisha was going through paperwork for one of their business ventures, she came across something that stopped her cold. A series of financial transactions that didn't make sense. Large sums of money moving around, unexplained expenses, and business deals that weren't adding up. At first, she told herself it was just a mistake. Maybe there was a reason for it. Maybe Martell had forgotten to mention something. But the more she looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't an accident. Tisha took a deep breath, knowing she had two options: confront Martell directly or find out the truth on her own. She decided on the second option. Tisha knew that if she asked Martell about the financial discrepancies, he would have an answer ready. He always did. But this time, she wasn't going to give him the chance to talk his way out of it. Instead, she reached out to people who might know more. She started asking quiet questions, making discreet phone calls, and talking to people who had worked with Martell in the past. Little by little, she started piecing things together. What she found out left her shaken. There were whispers of shady business dealings, hidden partnerships, and financial moves that didn't align with what Martell had been telling her. Some people were willing to talk, while others weren't. But the message was clear. Martell was keeping secrets. And the worst part? It wasn't just about business. The deeper Tisha dug, the more she realized that the deception wasn't just about money. There were late-night meetings that had nothing to do with business. There were trips that didn't match the itinerary he had given her. Names kept popping up, names of women she didn't recognize. Her heart pounded as she scrolled through messages, emails, and documents. There was no denying it now. Destiny had been right. The truth was staring her in the face, and there was no way to ignore it. And that's when the anger set in. Tisha had defended Martell for so long, always believing in him, trusting him despite the whispers and rumors. But now, with the weight of the evidence in front of her, she felt betrayed. She couldn't believe what she had uncovered. The lies, the manipulation, the secret life Martell had been leading behind her back. It was all too much. The man she had loved and trusted wasn't who she thought he was, and the pain of that realization hit her hard. Tisha's world was crumbling, and now, the question was, what was she going to do about it? For so long, Tisha had believed in Martell, stood by him, and ignored the warnings. Now, she realized she had been played. She wasn't just angry at Martell. She was angry at herself for not seeing it sooner. With her heart racing, Tisha picked up the phone and called Destiny. She didn't even wait for a greeting before saying the words she never thought she'd say. "You were right." Destiny was silent for a moment before sighing. "I didn't want to be." Tisha swallowed hard. "I don't know what to do." Destiny's voice was calm but firm. "You already know what you need to do. The question is, are you ready?" Tisha closed her eyes. She didn't know if she was ready, but she knew one thing for certain. She couldn't stay silent anymore. And neither could Destiny, because what they had uncovered was just the beginning. The real storm was still coming. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest celebrity news.